Life Lanes, everybody, the brotherly podcast where we explore incredible stories from people of all walks of life. We're your hosts, Dom and Justin Mazza, two brothers interviewing some really interesting people. On today's show, our guest is none other than the famous Patrick McGovern. Pat McGovern is one of my closest friends back from childhood. We went through St. Aidan's school system together, went through Chaminade High School together. We continue to remain really good friends to this day. We talk about a couple different topics on the podcast. Firstly, we get into what it's like to be a new father. Pat has a 5-month-old baby, so we get to chat about that, which is really great. We also then explore some of his career choices, such as being an engineer, kind of break down what a civil engineer does and the various types of projects. It's a really good breakdown of civil versus mechanical engineering. And then lastly, we get into what it's like to plan a wedding. We talk about some of the highlights of his wedding, including a very special ceramic mac and cheese that you'll hear me go goo goo gaga about. Justin is also planning a wedding, so they kind of exchange a couple different tips and tricks of that. It's a really great podcast. Hope you guys like it. So enjoy. All right. Well, welcome back to Life Lanes, everyone. We have a little cocktail.
I muted myself.
We heard that. Oh, that's a great way to start. We're doing a little cocktail of the week. Justin, why don't you tell everybody what you're sipping on right now?
I have like a version of a bee's knees, which is really simple. Simple syrup, liquor of choice, and lemon. So I don't know why I went with like vodka with a splash of Aperol. So not really like a real thing, but
is that true? Like you can just put whatever liquor you want in a bee's knees?
Yeah, why not?
Dean,
I'll pull it up.
We have Dean to pull that up.
What do you got going on?
Dean, can you look up what's a bee's knees, please? In the meantime,
This is
I don't really have a cocktail. I just have Screwball, which is peanut butter whiskey for all those that don't know it. It's pretty delicious. It has my name on it. I think, Justin, you got
I got you that. Yeah, I'm a big last name anagram guy.
Yeah. All right.
I think it says gin.
Bee's knees. I see gin.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm sure you could put like whiskey in it and it becomes
tastes
some
great
other
as
shit.
well. Didn't we talk about this, Dom, about the Screwball eggnog would be a great flavor, like a great collaboration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That reminds me, I played this game last night with some friends that I'm going to bring on later. Justin, do me a favor. Towards the end of this, remind me game last night, okay?
Game last night. Okay.
That's all you need to do. I think this is a good time to bring on our guest, Pat McGovern. Say hi to everybody, Pat.
Hello. Happy to see you.
Yeah. And we brought Pat on early because he is also sipping on a drink. Why don't you show everybody what you're doing?
Yeah, be lying to myself if I had a cocktail. I'm basically purely a beer guy. I have a Hallertare Hoppin' Curve. It's from a Costco Advent calendar.
Those are the best.
Which, yeah, we just bought it about a week ago, and we broke into it earlier because, like, what are you going to do with just a giant box?
So walk through that, Pat. Like, what is the Advent calendar for all those who don't know?
Yeah, so it's Advent calendar. It's got like 28 beers in it in a box. You're supposed to drink one a day, pull it out, enjoy it.
What?
Yeah, it's a great price. Cool. Isn't it like $50 or something?
It was a good deal, and they're all like imported, like craft German beers.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we just went for it, got it, and then I was like, I can't wait till Advent because I don't feel like going to buy more beer. So we just broke into it, and they all like
with chocolates.
They do one of wine too, I think, right? Like little wine bottles, I think.
Props to anyone that can go through the entire Advent without breaking into their Advent calendar. I think that shows great discipline.
Real self-control.
Yeah.
Wait, is that what you're supposed to do? You're not supposed to do it until
right. It's supposed to be like one a day, like a little treat.
Yeah.
Like the anticipation. But naturally, we're like halfway through.
What did you think the intent of each day had its treat was for?
I thought like you're supposed to give up something for Advent. Or is that Lent? That's Lent. Okay.
12 years of Catholic school, everybody.
School, yeah. Did nothing. My bad.
That's all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's just get into it. So, Pat is one of my best friends from home. We grew up together, went through the state school system together, went through high school together, and we continue to be really good friends to this day. Um, we have a couple things we're going to chat about. One of them is, I'm a little upset that Pat did not bring a very special guest on, but they had to put him to bed. For all you that don't know, Pat, he is a new father. He's the first father of our friend group, which is kind of fucking crazy that we're transitioning into that state of our lives. Pat, why don't you tell everybody what it's like to be a brand new father?
Yeah, well, for starters, I think if there were betting odds on who's going to be the first dad in our group, I don't know if I would have landed number one. But it's awesome with one word. Like I can't describe what it's like fully, but it's just like an experience unlike any other. It's like a ups and downs. Obviously, it comes with some challenges, but like I love being a dad, and we got lucky. He's a pretty great kid. He's not here obviously because it's 7 o'clock and he's asleep, but he can probably hear me. He's in the door, just directly behind us, which was exciting.
So, Pat, your son is, how old is he now?
He's 5 months as of about a week ago. So
5 months. So yeah, and I met him. He's pretty cute kid. I'm not super goo goo gaga for babies, and we chatted about this where I don't really
yeah,
like to hold babies because it's just a lot of responsibility on that part.
right.
The
And I mean,
risk
they're not really.
reward.
Yeah, they're not really doing much, right? So they're just kind of holding them for no reason. It's
Yeah,
20 pounds. It's like a 20-pound rock that you have to hold for no reason at all.
right. It seems like it's like a competition of who can hold the baby the longest without them freaking out. And then once they do freak out, you just pass them back to the parents, which is the good part.
Yeah. We went to the zoo last night, and I live in Chicago. For anyone that doesn't know, Lincoln Park Zoo has like a free light show, and we went there. We went with my cousin Pete, who moved to Chicago, and his wife, and the four of us. Just like he didn't want to sit in the stroller at all, so we were just like passing him for
Holding
like
them.
until your arms got tired. It's just like a 20-pound piece of sack of
Dead
potatoes. You
weight.
can't. Yeah.
Right, and you have to hold them in very specific ways. You can't just like throw them over your shoulder like an
Yeah.
actual sack.
Right.
Has
Got
to
to
be
give him
very
something.
gentle.
He's got the neck thing down these days, which is good. So it's not like it's one less thing you have to worry about, but it's still like he's
Do
got
you
to be
have the
up.
little thing that you put him in, like on your stomach and you strap him to it?
Yeah, the hangover front pouch,
Yeah,
the sack,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I got it. That's kind of a must.
I think those are so funny. You're like an actual kangaroo or something, just like holding
Once
it
you get
instead of
over
it.
like the hump of like this is kind of embarrassing to wear, it's very convenient for like walking around town because it's just like
It
puts all the
really
weight on
is.
your back.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have hands free. It's like the invention of Bluetooth. Just hands free. You can
Precisely.
do whatever you want. Yeah.
I think you look pretty cool too. Everyone's like, "Damn, that guy's holding a baby right now."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you have a baby, that means you can get shit done. At least I hope so. But
I'm sure.
yeah, that's great. And we chatted about this, but um, what do you think has been the most difficult part of having a child, or the thing that you weren't expecting that was just like, "Ooh, I didn't realize that was a thing."
Yeah, it's not like the big things you'd imagine are the hard part, like changing diapers, like
Mm-hmm.
feeding the baby. It's like the fact that I guess the fact that it's a 24/7 job. You like always have to do it no matter what. Even if you
Yeah.
have someone there helping you, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's like you're still on the clock if something goes wrong. Like we're out to dinner, there's a babysitter here, something goes wrong, we still got to be ready to like do it.
Right. 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 And you have a dog as well. Do you feel like owning a dog prior to having a baby was like a good stepping stone?
Yes, for two reasons. One, I think like taught you some responsibility, right? Like kind of the obvious thing. You get used to like getting in a daily schedule with your partner, like figuring out who's going to do what, like task orientation. That's a little more unexpected than things you can plan for, which is kind of like a
Yeah.
baby. But then the other one being, what was I about to say? The other one being, oh, said that one. What was I just thinking? I just had a train of thought. It's gone.
That's right. Choo choo. Train left the station.
Yeah. No, this is gonna kill me now. Pepper sucks. She doesn't suck, but Pepper is my dog. I can go grab her if you want to see her. Maybe she'll run over here.
Pepper sucks. Pepper's pretty cool. The small dog's kind of her pain in the ass, but she's a cool dog.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'd feel bad having a big dog in the city, but
I
for the
like the
most part, she
Pepper
like
Ann's
got
dog.
me ready. And then, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say if I got a dog after having a baby,
Mm-hmm.
that would be impossible. I could not imagine training a dog while having a baby. Like, if you're ever planning on having a dog and a baby, I would recommend the dog first.
Plan accordingly.
Yeah, just because like you won't really have time to like do anything with the dog properly. It'll just be like a poorly trained dog. Not that she's a
Right.
well trained dog. You
Yeah,
know.
the baby definitely commands a little bit more attention than a dog.
Yeah.
I would agree. Now, Pat, you come from a pretty big family, right? How many siblings you have?
I'm one of four. We're like when you close your eyes and think of a New York Irish Catholic family, that's my family, basically. Like with
Yeah,
all the
you guys.
cousins and whatnot, you know.
It's a good Irish clan. Yeah, and you have like 30 cousins, and I feel like
Yeah.
every time somebody tells a story, it involves one of your cousins who I didn't realize. So you had a cousin that went to Kallenberg or that knows Dave, and um, does this make you want to have a big family?
Yes and no. I think we want not a huge family, but like we realize both of us come from families of siblings, and like we realize the value of like having siblings in your life. It's not necessarily about like all the cousins and everything, but like I think there's
Mm-hmm.
some value in learning from people in your house that are closer to your age than like just your parents. If that makes sense.
Right. Totally. Yeah. I mean, to grow up with each other, like kind of making the same mistakes, going through the same stuff. And, it's generational, right? Like my dad's high school experience is not the same as my high school experience, right? So it's
Right.
good to have that kind of camaraderie. I could just
Yeah.
see you having like a whole flock of Irish hooligans just running around, probably all
No.
named very Irish names like Kieran and Liam and Sean and
Kieran is technically a British or Scottish name. Just want that on the record. But
what's the difference?
yeah, that wasn't
Those are fighting
even
words.
close. Wasn't even close to like my first choice of names too. Not obviously, it was like figuring out a name is one of the toughest parts of having a baby for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys have a
It's
girl
just
name picked out?
we both had like ammo for a girl name, but we knew we were gonna figure out what the sex was gonna be, and then when we found out, it's like almost made it harder because like we both were fighting for our like there would have been probably some more compromise if you didn't know. Like, oh, you can take your favorite name on the boy and I'll take the girl.
Mm-hmm.
But since we both knew there was like we both threw out our top fives. All of my top five got shot down. Same with the other side. And then we just kind of had to be
What
it's like,
what
okay,
what
sorry,
was
go
like
ahead.
the weirdest top 5 name you had?
I would say I had like a lot of normal little boy names you could think of. Kieran was actually in my top five. And that was the only one that I would call like mildly weird name. I think we would know it just because we grew up in an area that has a lot of Irish people and Italian
Yeah,
people. But I think like a lot of people in the Midwest are like Kieran. I don't know what that name is. So not that it's
it's
like a
true.
name you haven't heard, but it's just a little out there. But it's good. We like it.
I could see a Seamus McGovern too. That would be a tough name. He's got to play like
Shame.
rugby or something.
Yeah. Like you might as well like Sean's a better version of Seamus. It's like a little more
Yeah,
Americanized
yeah.
at this
Well,
point.
that's
Thanks to
cool.
Sean.
You know, Justin and I, we have a cousin who has 2 little kids. So they're in like a similar situation with young kids, but with them, they have family members all up and down Long Island, like blocks away. And for you living in Chicago, I know you don't really have that much close family nearby. Walk us through what that's like and what kind of pitfalls that proposes.
Yeah, it's a curse and a blessing, right? Because if you have help and people you're close with, like you're going to use it, you're going to take it. It's great to have. But the
Mhm.
blessing side of it is like we didn't have anyone that could come help out. Like we just kind of had to like do it all, figure it all out, no matter what. Like at the end of the day, we were responsible, and so like I think it made us a little more hands on than like we didn't have a crutch. Like we kind of just had to like buckle up and like, we got to do this. There's no one here to like let us sleep at night and like come over and help us out with these little things. Like we kind of just had to power through it and figure it out. Like sure, our parents have
Right.
come
You know,
down to a couple times, helped us with the kids and stuff, or the kid, but it's not like a consistent thing.
yeah, you're getting like a crash course of just like kind of forcing your way into like these situations that sometimes you could pass off to like your parents or a sibling, but you're having to go through it, which I think is going to make you a better parent in the long run, though.
Yeah, right. It's like we're having a bad night. A lot of people could be like, "Hey, we just want to like go out, go to the movies." Like something I haven't done since being a parent. Like you don't think of like little things, and like even when they're asleep, like your aunt, your dad could come over, just sit on the couch, make sure the baby's awake. Like fine, we can't do that. We're
Right.
like, I guess we're just gotta do it. Like we can't just like go do anything. We're just kind of stuck here unless we pay for it. Gotta get a babysitter or like
Yeah.
way plan it in advance with like Maggie's parents or my parents or like cousins, like someone who's willing to watch the baby.
Yeah.
So it's just a little more planning.
Yeah, that's fine. Makes you more responsible, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Pat, did
Google
you say,
Calendar.
are you guys remote right now? Like working remotely?
No, that's the other tricky part. So we're both pretty much full time in the office.
Wow.
Maggie's on a schedule. She goes in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So he's in daycare Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then she's Tuesday and Thursday at home, like working as best she can, but they know that she's home with the baby. So like they're not expecting her to, save the world or anything. And she doesn't work in like a corporate side of things. So it's a little easier for her to make that scheduling work.
Yeah.
But I'm classic corporate. So I kind of 5 days a week.
Well, that's what
One
I
every
hear a
week.
lot. I hear a lot from my colleagues who have like younger kids and all. Let's call it like 4 to 6, and the difference between pre and COVID for their kids, like just to be home or to say like no to travel or just a little bit, whether you're remote or not. It feels like at least employers, maybe like to your point with your wife, is employers are a little bit more sensitive or aware to like there's things going on at home, and we just got to be a little bit more flexible.
Yeah. And I mean, that has happened where it's like, I luckily like the guys who work in my office have kids as well. So they kind of get it more. One just had a baby, like the head of our office had a baby maybe 5 months before me. And
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of completely gets it. Like there's reasons to work from home, and like we're on my work setup right now. I probably work 1 day a week consistently, sometimes more as needed, but I think that's like a life changing thing. Being able to work from home, I feel like I would have had to take a day off before COVID if anything came up. But now it's like I can leave early, pick them up, go home, and then like get them all situated. And anything I had to finish, I can just finish at home, which is way more common than it used to be, which is
Yeah,
nice.
speaking of work, yeah, good answer, good answer. It's like the Family Feud, I love where that good answer. It could be like the
So bad
stupidest
the answer.
answer.
Some of them,
How,
yeah.
how many how many of these do you have, Tyler? Do you have like a collection building up?
Yeah, I'm building up a
Or team, excuse me.
nice little board. No, it doesn't matter. Everyone
Of
slipped up except for Dom, I think. I have a nice little board. Um,
of what, like
so
the audio kind of. Oh, that's a good one. Can you do them more frequently?
I don't want to you know what? I don't want to overdo it, you know?
I know
Do you have
it's
a
about finding the
Gandalf one?
balance.
No, I'm starting to put like specific ones for us. I'm like making a list. Me and Don were talking about that the other day, and Justin wants like a chinging of, or what do you want, Justin?
Like the
Like wine
cocktail shaker
glasses.
or cocktail of the week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there like
Yeah.
copyright things behind what you can and can't do? Sorry to
Some of
tangent
them,
again.
some of them are. We're very
Okay.
careful about copyright here at the Skippers View LLC, which is why most of our artwork is artificial intelligence designed by me and ChatGPT.
Pulls it out of thin air.
Yeah.
It looks incredible.
You know.
Yeah. What do you think of this logo? Like, honest opinion.
I think it's a little busy, but it's very good. Is my honest
I
opinion.
could do without the footprints, honestly.
Okay, you could have told me that when I made it.
Yeah.
Perfect in every way.
Did
We should do a night version with
is
the
the
moon.
curve in the road by design? Is that
None of it's by design. I just said the name of the podcast and told ChatGPT to make something, and it put this out.
That's true. Why is there a curve on the road? Because it looks like we get back on the same path. Maybe it's like we take different paths. But
right?
You got one path, Dom. I have another. It's brotherly.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, see, ChatGPT is way ahead of you, Dom.
ChatGPT just gets us.
Yeah, we can't change it now. It's all over the merch that we've already sold. So
yeah, no, I'm happy with it. I think it's pretty crisp.
Yeah, and let's do a night version with the moon. Alternate logos.
Yeah, you
All
can
right.
change it in
I like
like
where
two
this is
layers.
going.
Deception, Dom.
Where this is. Sorry, Justin, you froze. We couldn't really hear you.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of Skipper's View, use promo code Skipper's View for 20% off SeatGeek. Get all your sporting views out. Anyway, let's go back to Pat's career. So, Pat, you talk about working from home. You know, I've known you for a long time, and I really don't know what you do. I know you're an engineer, and I know you do civil engineer. Can you walk us through, like, very briefly what the types of engineering are?
Like all the types, or the different types of civil engineering?
Oh God, I didn't realize it was a thing like
Yeah.
that.
So maybe Pat, like mechanical, civil, electrical. That's what I think where Dom's head's at.
Chemical, biomedical. You know, like I could do that. Like biomedical, it's pretty obvious. You probably interact with biomedical engineers, Dom. They're making parts for hearts. Chemicals, pretty straightforward. Dealing with chemicals.
Right, what about civil? Go through civil with us.
Civil engineering is like big stuff, like tangible stuff. Like mechanical is like little things, you know, you're making parts, you're putting cars together, there's different parts of it. Civil's anything that's like larger scale engineering. So like think you're building a building, like highways, buildings, tunnels, bridges, you name it. And there's kind of like two ways you can go with a civil engineering degree, right? You can go what I believe Justin did at some point in his life, like the construction route. A lot of civil engineers get into like project engineer, construction management, like the implementation of the design itself, or the construction process. I'm on the design side, which is a little more like consulting based. So we're like making the plans that will eventually be constructed by a contractor to do. So that's kind of my civil engineering. And when you get to there, sorry to break it down even further, there's like two branches of that. You can do like public or private. Public or private civil engineering is kind of that. You're either like doing the private development, like site layouts, or you're doing like roadways, airports, things like that.
And by public, that's more like government funded projects?
Yeah, exactly. So my first job, I did a lot of aviation work. So I was in Chicago doing a lot of work for O'Hare Airport, public projects, a lot different style of work. And then like they would also do like there's doing a highway reconstruct, anything from a municipality like the city. If Wilson Park is redoing a road, that's a public job that's going to be engineered. But now that I'm on the private side, it's more like somebody bought a land and they want to knock down the garage and like that's sitting there and turn it into a skyscraper, and we do the design for that.
And does the public versus private vary from company to company, or do companies work on both sides of the coin?
There are definitely companies who work on both sides. Obviously, there's large companies, small companies, but I think when you get like the smaller the size of the company that you get down, the more you tend to see one or the other, right? Like I would say our company does 95% private work, with some public sprinkled in, but that's because we have like a traffic department, so they would work with like a municipality on like traffic control within the area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And have you been at the same company this whole time, or have you bounced around?
No, I've had since living in Chicago, like outside of internships, I've had 2 jobs. I've been here for about a year and a half, and kind of like I said, I was on the public side, which is different because they're usually, especially in a city like Chicago, they're like big, massive projects with like 5 billion. Like the one I was on was a $5 billion airport project, and so there's just like a lot of money. You're doing it for 10 years, kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
and which is cool.
That-
It's like a big cool project to be a part of. But so
Was that project through? So I'm curious to compare it to like the LaGuardia, JFK projects that I was
Similar.
on. Those were though through Delta Airlines. So Dom, like that was a private project on a public property. Like the Port of
Yeah.
Authority owns that property, right? So was that
the
how were you
airport?
working with O'Hare?
The airport ones are tricky because they are public projects that are predominantly private funded. Like
Right.
United and American are fitting the bill for a lot of the O'Hare expansion just because they own the property, right? So, or they're hub there. They do a lot of work there. They like want it to be of their quality, so they're willing to pay a decent amount of it in order to get, and other airlines too. But those are the two of part of that project. But something like a highway would be entirely public funded, pretty much,
Right.
or city funded, like depending on federal.
Gotcha. Do you feel like you prefer to work in the private sector more?
I think it fits me way better. Like, I was on O'Hare for a while. I learned the whole thing. I kind of fit it, and then it's just like, all right, I'm doing the same project for the next 20 years of my life, kind of deal. It's just like you're moving on to the next one. The private one's like a little more fast paced. You're like betting on yourself. You're more responsible, so to speak, and it's more fun.
Right. Yeah. Cool. What made you go into engineering? I know you've always been like a really good math guy, but I don't remember you particularly playing with Legos a lot as a kid. So what made you choose this path?
No, it's a good question. I sometimes try and figure that out myself, but it stems a little bit from doing math. It stems a little bit from like the timing of when we were going to college and stuff. Like we were looking at colleges during like post recession, right? So I was like very independent through high school, like working a lot and like kind of wanted a job that was like pretty consistent and that you could kind of do anywhere. And that's kind of what led me to it. I knew too that I didn't want to be in New York or at least Long Island. And so I wanted a job that was like a little more versatile, so to speak, and like engineering you can kind of do anywhere. That's kind of the short of it. And then I started school, liked it a lot, stayed with it.
And when you're going through school, how many years do you have like before you kind of choose a path you want to take?
Yeah, I went to Marquette, which is Jesuit school. So if anyone's not familiar with that, it's not like you're thrown right into your classes right away. There's like pillars and stuff, so you have to take like a little bit of every discipline, so to speak. So there's like a little more time than you would normally have somewhere else. But like at the same time, there's like so many extra class requirements associated with engineering that you have to take like as prerequisites. They call them weeder classes, like physics, chemistry, like higher level differential equations that just like, if you can't do that, you can't be an engineer or any type of high level science person.
Yeah, the weed out courses.
Yeah, right. You probably know that with getting a medical degree. Like, if you can't do this, you're not ready for the next phase. But
exactly.
So I think by
can't take the heat.
But I think by like sophomore year, you have to decide. I was at one point like contemplating switching towards a business degree, but just never felt like it would have been right for me. That was like part of the reason why I did Marquette too. Was on top of like it was the cheapest but best school I could go to. while leaving New York kind of deal. But they had like a decent business program, so it
kind of on
would
the
have been
fence
like
like the whole time. Yeah.
well, the first like semester I was, and then I was like, no, I'm sticking to it. I like this. This seems right for me. Civil was the one I landed on. Justin, I think you're muted.
Justin, you are muted.
Thanks for the
Tyler,
call
can we
out.
get a little clown music going real quick?
Tough.
Womp.
Pat,
No, it wasn't what I was looking for. But
how big is Marquette?
It's like 8,000 undergrad, 13-ish total.
It's a good sized school. What I'm curious, like if you had a similar experience where so the two majors I based my undergrad was architectural engineering and construction finance. But when we spoke to professors or really when we spoke to anyone, the only route that people gave us was either architect or general contracting. Like there was nothing else. And I'm curious about what you learned in school from the different routes you can go with your undergrad degree versus now that you're in the field and like what are the different options that you see people with a similar background kind of getting into?
Good question. I think you kind of have the right of it. I think most institutions throughout the country, at least from like the engineering side, are steering you in like the one of two baskets of just like, on the civil side, it's like you're going construction or you're going design, right? Like that's kind of what I said at the get go. And when you get into it, you realize there's like a lot more to it than just one or the other, right? There's some overlap that you could land on. Like design build is kind of a huge thing right now too, knowing how to do both. And then like even just each of the side that you pick, there's like so much more to it, right? Because I'm on the design side, which is consulting, so it's a lot more like even both sides really like you need business acumen in order to like be able to perform your job adequately, and nobody really ever tells you that kind of a deal. They just kind of get you technically ready, steer you like, here's a good place for you to start. If that's not for you, you switch over, and it's just kind of one or the other. It would suck. I know this has happened to people too. If you like get tossed in a basket just from like not knowing, and then you have to switch later just from because it's one of those things too. You don't really know which basket you want to be in until you've experienced it. Just
Right.
kind of with any job. I don't know if that fully answers the question, but
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I did an internship for an architectural firm, and it was a design firm, landscape design, and I absolutely hated it. I was like, this was terrible. Like 3-4 weeks, it was miserable. Then I did another one with the general contractor. It's like a little bit better, and you kind of just start finding your way through trial and error. And Dom and I've talked about this a lot too. Like it's hard to ask an 18-year-old what they want to do for the rest of their life. This is basically what college is, right? Like don't declare a major at 18 and then when you switch it costs more money or there's confusion or you need to go make up classes or what. So it's challenging, like where you even like kind of hinted at it. You're like, I did something similar at one point, yet my career is completely pivoted to a different place. And I think a lot of like our generation is going to be doing that, is taking their undergrad and then maybe using the master's program as for me, and I'm sure for you too, Pat, you can go and write an MBA, which I did, and like that helped pivot my career to a different way. So they use graduate school as a way to get out of what you've been doing. If that's an opportunity. So it's just, it's different out there.
Yeah, my graduate school was more to like double down on the thing, kind of like what I poked at. There's more business in engineering than I realized, so I kind of was like, okay, I need to study up and like actually understand what's going on here. But I think too, especially in the engineering world, it's like a lot more hierarchical, if that's a word, than people realize. Like it's a lot of like waiting your turn, next guy up. There's not like you're a really good hotshot engineer that doesn't really. I mean, it exists, but not to the scale that it could in like a finance world kind of deal, right? You're not like making your own unless you went and started your own company sort of deal, but there's no like you're game changing. It's kind of like an experience based industry, which can be tough for people. If
So
that
yeah,
makes
that can
sense.
be frustrating for people who like really want to just climb up the ladder, based off of merit, and it's more of a time based, got to pay your dues mentality to it.
Right.
Hey, Pat, I got one more question on just engineering. What type of person is it? Like to Dom's point, is it mathematically oriented? Is it? I guess if you could say to a high school kid, you should go to engineering because of X, Y, and Z. What would be those traits?
Good question. I think there's an opportunity if you're good at math and you're mildly social. There's like really good opportunity for you to like make a good name for yourself in the engineering world, right? Like if you can if you're detail oriented, I think especially that's something I kind of struggle with. I wasn't originally, and I kind of learned how to be like so obviously engineering is a little less big picture than like say architectural would be. There's some details involved, but not to the scale of like if I miss something and then it gets through, like we're liable for it. So like you really can't. You have to be thorough from like A to Z. And so I think if you have social skills and you're good at math and you like seeing things from start to finish, engineering's pretty good for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Social skills, the importance of schmoozing. If you're a good schmoozer, you can make it pretty far in the world.
Yeah, I've seen some people that don't need to be named, but in my world that are like, how is this guy there? It's like he's clearly not that great of an engineer, but he's like really good at
Name them.
pulling together engineers. Like this is impressive.
All right, Justin, you want to transition? So, Pat, you got married, last year?
I got married September. I can't believe you don't remember this, Dom. September.
You better watch out. Your wife's in the room.
Hey, you remember?
September 2022.
September 22.
What?
Yes.
September what?
15th.
I thought it was the 17th.
It's the 17th.
March, confirm.
Yeah, I feel like definitely looked over.
It's the 17th.
Okay, the 17th. And it was in Milwaukee. It was great. I had a fantastic time. I still talk about the bougie mac and cheese that you guys put out. I thought that was fucking brilliant, bro.
Yeah, that was like the one thing I kind of pushed for on the dinner plate. Yeah. It was like
Justin, their dinner plate was amazing. It was like mac and cheese, like a crab cake, and then was it like a piece of steak?
yeah, there was crab cake. Everyone got the same thing. It was a crab cake, piece of steak, like some asparagus, I want to say.
Yeah,
and then
it was like a
mac and
filet
cheese.
mignon too. Yeah, it was
in like
fucking
a little
Wow.
in like a little ramekin. It was like a baked mac and cheese. It was like I was like, I need mac and cheese. I know it's tacky-ish in theory, but like did it tastefully. It was sure.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Everyone got the same thing. It's a bold move at a wedding.
you'll see it. It's a lot easier than dealing or paying for options.
Well, I think you probably like asked, if you're vegetarian, let us know ahead of time.
Yeah.
We had a vegetarian option as well. So
yeah,
more mac and cheese.
Right.
This is all mac and cheese. This is a huge bowl of mac and cheese. I'm sure they wouldn't be upset with that.
No, it's like a wedding too. So like, you don't like crab cake. The person to your left doesn't like steak. You're a few drinks in. Let's just swap it.
I know. I think me and Rooney were like crushing the crab cakes because like people were like, "Oh, I don't like crab," and I was like, "You're fucking dumb."
Get out.
Uncultured swine.
Exactly.
We were gonna do like a steak and a chicken. We're like, that's dumb. Let's just throw a crab cake on there.
Yeah, the chicken's never that good anyway.
No.
It's just for the people who are like, I don't eat red meat. I don't know.
Pat, how many people did you have at your wedding?
Final count was 213.
Oh, 200 plus.
Welcome to my big Irish family, Justin.
Yeah. I want like 7 people, if that. It's Lindsay who's driving the bus on that. Like,
7.
I really don't want it. I don't
Is that a
want
real
a big
number?
wedding. I just don't want a big wedding. She's got at least over 100 people on her side. We're doing 150. So I have no problem saying, I haven't seen you since COVID. You're not coming to the wedding. Like, no problem. And then, like, the
Yep.
extended family who I just haven't seen in a while. I'm like, this isn't the reason we're all going to see each other. I'm not paying for you to come say hello. So,
Wait, are we going to
Yeah,
be
I mean,
outnumbered 2-1?
probably, I guess.
Where am I sitting, Justin?
Did you get to save the day, Tyler?
I did. It's on my fridge right now.
Nice. Magnets. We splurged on the magnets. Those are
Does
expensive.
it say lifelines on it?
It's in invisible ink.
That'd be the perfect opportunity to promote
That
that.
would be.
Yeah, that would go over well with Lindsay.
The wedding website just goes to your guys' website instead. You know?
That's terrible.
There's a
The
tiny
knot, Pat, you know the knot,
Yeah.
right? The knot / lifelines.
Or like the
Yeah.
registry is just the merchandise gift shop.
She's gonna love this conversation. Yeah. Wedding
She doesn't
planning is
even listen.
it's fun, man. It's been a challenge, like as a couple, right? What you prioritize, what you value, especially when you pay for your own wedding.
Mhm.
But we just every guy I talk to who's been married, it's like you just want the day to be over, just so you can go and then enjoy like your life.
Yeah, I think you'll realize after the fact how, like, I don't want to say unimportant. That's the wrong word. It's obviously very important, but like
It's a safe
in the
space.
grand scheme of things, it's kind of just like another step
party.
on the ladder. It feels like the biggest hurdle because you put so much into it, so much thought into it, and like it's the topic of your life, right? Like everyone you know is like that's the only thing people ask you about. They think they're being nice, but it's just like the only thing people bring up, and it's just kind of to be done.
Lindsay's best friend was over today, and she's getting married 4 months after us. So they were talking about the bachelorettes and the bridal showers and the bridesmaids' dresses. I'm like, holy crap! Like, there's just so much, and then like that's not even including the day of detail. Like, there's all this other detail that's going to go into it, and and we've been going to a lot of weddings. I think we went to 4 or 5 this year. We've got a couple more left, and
we had 11 last year.
Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
And like we had a couple that were same days. So we got to skip. Yeah, my life's like going to weddings or bachelor parties and raising a baby. You know,
you have an out now. You have a kid. You're like, I can't.
Yeah, but then you build like a little bit of a reputation as a flake. You know, you don't want that.
Pat, I thought one of the funniest things was when your dad was walking down the aisle and he just goes, "Let's go Mets." This is the most McGovern thing
we
could imagine.
We went to a wedding maybe last year, 18 months ago, probably now, and they played the Edwin Diaz trumpet song. Like the DJ played it, and like all the Met fans just went hard after it. It was a lot of fun.
Like the walk-in? I've seen that where people like introducing the couple and the trumpets going.
This was just we were hammered. It was 11:30, and they brought it out, and we all just like went up in the front like idiots and just trumpeted it out. So.
Was that before or after he tore his ACL?
That was before. That's when he was still Edwin Diaz. Yeah.
He's still Edwin Diaz. I got faith there.
Whole team's a mess.
You know, Justin, Pat also got his groomsmen these suspenders with like their favorite MLB teams on it. I thought that was
a cool idea.
Pretty sweet too.
Yeah,
I was dropping a hint
suspenders
there.
are like a nice little dance prop on the dance floor. You know, you get to like. I recommend.
Dude, I'm all about the suspenders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave's wedding.
Dom's trying to convince me just to have a tux for suspenders. He's like, you got to do it.
I think you could go suspenders without a tux, just like no belt.
You can. Yeah. You totally can. But I like the tux look, especially for the groomsmen and the hubby. I think it's a good look. It's classy.
Yeah, it was nice too. We were the only ones in tuxes. Like you kind of stood out from the rest of the pack.
Wow, you're important. Yeah, you're wearing a tux.
Right.
Pat, what'd you do for your bachelor party?
We went to Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah,
bunch of woo
it was
girls.
fun. We went for a NASCAR race.
Oh, that's
just
cool.
happened to like. It was.
You had a squad go, right, Pat?
Yeah, there was like 20-ish of us.
Jesus.
I think we're invited
No,
10, if that.
I mean, when you're on like that, when you're in your 20s, it's different than if I was getting married like 4 years from now, right?
In
So
your early
like,
30s. Yeah.
there's more people who
Yeah.
I know still see more often than I would if I did later in life. So it's fun. I saw Jay
Well,
Cutler when he was there. That was cool.
Well, Justin, hopefully you have some food that I get to brag about to people like I do with Pat's ramekin mac and cheese.
Well, we'll see, Dom, if you can come home for the taste testing. We'll bring you.
I'd fucking love that.
It's not a bad idea. Bring your best man, your maid of honor to the taste testing.
I'll give him the
Testing's
honest
fun.
review. I'd be like, listen, I'll be like, this food fucking sucks. Bring it back.
We've had a wedding there. We went to a wedding there once, and the food was really good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, because it's like a smaller. Well, it's a venue like no one really goes to, right? It's all the way out east, but no, I'm excited for it.
They giving you guys like a wine tasting
Cool.
too. That was kind of the fun part. You got to taste all the beer, wine, anything that was like getting served at your wedding was part of the tasting. Kind of fun.
Yeah,
Kind of fun.
Free food and alcohol. Sign me up.
I always get so sauced at weddings just because, it's usually open bar and you're just drinking real early. And, Pat, we talked about this. It's the wine at the table that just murders you.
Gets you every
And-
time.
Yeah, and you're not drinking any water. You're having some food, which is good, but yeah, the last few
And I
weddings
think
I've
a lot
definitely
of
had to
times,
slow down at some point.
a lot of times too, you're seeing all these people that like you haven't seen in a while, or you're like you don't know anyone there, and it's like, well, I might as well have the free drinks. It's like one or the other. It's like the hype, the need to drink is like pretty high in the scenario in most situations.
I like it. I think, Justin, you're going to have a good wedding. Who's like a curveball that I'd be like, whoa, I didn't know they were coming?
The
Nothing.
Russos?
Me and Joe.
I mean,
Just straight
yeah.
heater.
I mean, like, you know everyone.
I don't
Who
know
would be on the
everyone.
fringe?
Like,
What?
what about Augie Fricano? Is he getting an invite?
Augie Fricano. Did I tell you I saw Ugilowicz, Riva at pickleball?
Ugilowicz, I barely even know her.
Did I tell you about this?
No.
A couple weekends ago, I see this little woman walking around the facility. I'm like, for some reason, I think that's her. And then the following week, Dad's running a little late for pickleball. He's up in the corner talking to some woman. Like, what woman could Dad possibly be talking to? And it was Mrs. Ugilowicz, who comes down. And the first thing she says is, "Are you married yet? Do you have kids yet?" I'm like, Lindsay's right here, like next to me. I'm like, we're working on it.
It's an odd opener to start with.
Just came in with the heat, man.
I respect it. She's a no bullshit type of lady.
What's
Always
the
liked
date,
her. I thought
Justin?
she
I
was
might
good.
have to wedding crash.
September 7th. Come on down.
Is that Labor Day?
The weekend after.
Weekend after.
Yeah.
I think I have a wedding the next weekend. Maybe I'll
King
crash.
Island?
Jersey.
Jersey.
Guess
We're
who
from
it is?
Jersey. One of
Another
your
cousin.
fucking cousins. One of the Hanleys.
Their cousin.
Yep,
We're
that's
cousins.
accurate.
What are you drinking now, Pat? That looked pretty tasty.
Yeah, my wife just brought me another one from the advent calendar. It is a Husarenken trunk. Husaren trunk.
Obviously.
Pat, I
There's
always
some
laugh
cool
when you
guys
go.
if you can't see it. It looks pretty legit.
I didn't realize that they were like big beers like that.
Yeah, they're pints.
It's like a beer.
On the back of all of them, it says like beer, but B-I-E-R. So yeah,
Beer. Un Bex.
Unbex.
Pat, sometimes we ask people like if they have any side projects that they're working on right now. You have a new child, so do you have any side projects outside of rearing the future?
No, sadly. I mean, yes and no. Side projects are basically raising the baby. And like I put up some blinds in my bathroom today by myself.
That's good.
Does that count as a
That's
side
good.
project?
I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
I know.
I would.
I was just thinking of like when Joe was on here talking about like, thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Um, I'm not like trying to figure out the stock market on my own. I have a financial advisor who I pay to do that for me. So,
It's smart to outsource.
and there's just kind of like a lot going on for me to like when I do get like that free time, I just kind of want to watch football or Marquette basketball or something that Morgan Freeman's narrating on Netflix. You know?
What's he got going on? Did he do Cosmos?
No, he did
Did he
like
do like a
this.
space one?
Yeah, that's what I'm watching next, dude. I watched he did one on like the history of the Earth from like the history of evolution, basically. Pretty cool.
Oh, that
He
sounds
has a
pretty good.
universe one. I'm gonna watch that next.
Have you seen the Neil deGrasse Tyson Cosmos?
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't? That's like staple
That's good.
of I'm sick from school. It's on TV. That Price is Right was like what was on.
Great. I used to like Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was pretty good. Well, great. You know, Pat, do you want to close on anything? I was going to bring up this game that I played last night.
What
Did
game?
you want anything? Okay, so the game is called Truth or Drink, and you know it's kind of a stupid game to be honest. It's like a Cards Against Humanity's ish type of game, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But this one did have some funny prompts. Really, the premise of the game is that there's this big deck of questions. You pick a card and you ask like a person, usually it's like you're right, or you know you can choose that question. Most of them are like sexual, or like you know there's some like good prompts, but a couple ones were interesting that I wanted to spitball with some of my content creators. The first one was, if we were to start a business, what would that business be? Justin, you go first. Me and you.
Is it not this podcast?
No, not other than this podcast.
Well, no, we've talked about you starting your own practice and me kind of managing the financial side of things.
I was go for something more creative.
Oh.
Anything.
A craft cocktail sort of thing. Like maybe we make mixers and have at-home classes and something fun like that. You can like build on like, I don't know, this cocktail is good for immune because it has turmeric in it or something like that.
That'd be good. You know, like healing cocktails. I think if you can
something
involve
that's
booze
good for
with
your soul.
anything, people will buy it.
Yeah.
Pat, you have any like good business ideas? Doesn't have to be me and you, but like, you know, something
No, you're talking
you just
like
thought of.
free like some we made our pitch on Shark Tank. We got the backing financially, like we can just kind of
Yeah, exactly.
free reign. We've talked about this before. I don't know if Dean remembers this or not, but PBTs, if you recall, or maybe it was we changed it to PBJ and T's, something like that. But it was just everyone brings like their ideal restaurant, food, or like bar scenario, and it's just like 4 in 1. So it's not quite a food court, but kind of a food court, but also a bar. And it's like got pizza and sandwiches, and it's just like everyone kind of doing it at the same time.
Little food court. That sounds great.
I mean, realistically though, I think I would have fun making board games. Would be like my ideal job, like creating board games from scratch. We'd be a good
that'd be
board.
fun.
That would be a good
God,
job.
have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah. Sadly.
Lily's dad is like the board game creator, and he creates like the stupidest games, like last one to get murdered on the subway, something stupid.
It doesn't take much. I was playing Hughes and Q's. Have you guys heard of that game? It's you can play with up to 10 people. It's just
Sounds
like
good.
the 254 colors on a computer screen, right? Like those hues. And everyone has like a little token, and there's one person has it, and they give you like a hint, like banana pancakes or something, and you have to like guess which color they're talking about. It's like fire truck.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw like an argument break out over what purple was Barney. They were like Barney, and they were like all fighting over which exact purple.
Yeah, it was a fun game. It was good for like a big group setting.
Tough if you're colorblind.
I would not be very good at that game.
Yeah,
But-
tough for colorblind.
I had a great invention when I was younger. I thought of like a snowmobile, not a snowmobile. What are they? Like a snow thrower, snow plow.
That
What are they
melted
called?
snow as I know what you're talking about.
Yes. It
They have
melts
that in
snow.
Canada.
It melts snow, and then you can shoot hot water to melt other snow.
Yeah. It
Not
basically
bad.
takes the snow, melts it, and then he's saying like a fire hose shoots
Yes.
hot water to melt more snow.
So I told someone that, and they were like, "But then you'd get ice everywhere." And I was like, "That's a good point." So you have to leave a trail of salt as you're going with it.
Yeah, it's a tough market.
really-
I don't know.
Well,
Canada.
with climate change, we're not even getting
Yeah,
any
it's going
snow
the other
anymore.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
we didn't even
my
get
dad
snow
kept
here.
my dad kept saying that last year. He's just like, I didn't realize how many businesses are going under because they sell like snow shovels and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point, Dad.
Yeah, there's a lot of like construction workers who work seasonally and do snow removal in the winter and like just like out of work all winter long. It's tough.
What are you gonna do? Adapt, I guess. Wah, wah. Anybody have any hot takes?
No.
Anything? I asked somebody that last night, and he was like, "What's a hot take?" I was like, "You kidding me?" Then I had a
Yeah.
tough time defining what a hot take was.
Jim Leland just got elected to the Hall of Fame.
I saw that. He deserves.
I think Florida State versus Georgia is going to be the best. Is like the true champion. I think that's a hot take.
Florida State's going to lose by 30.
Yeah, right.
Roll
Yeah.
Tide,
I
baby.
don't watch college football at all, so I'm just spitting hot takes.
Alabama should not be in, but I'm very happy they are.
When are the
I
when are
think
the
they
playoffs?
should.
Florida State's undefeated, Dom.
Yeah, but they don't play anybody good.
That's not their fault.
And
Dude, they
Alabama
beat
just
LSU.
beat. Okay, LSU was like
The
a
thing
fringe
is,
top 10 team the whole
Florida
time.
State has a third string quarterback. Like whoever they play would get.
Yeah, but
wrecked.
Alabama just beat the number one. So
Yeah.
what I heard
They beat
is
Auburn. Yeah.
they really count if you win your conference championship. Okay, so SEC champions. Head to heads they really count. Which is why Texas is in because they
Yeah.
beat Alabama. And then
But Alabama's
Big
also
12 too.
Yeah.
Alabama just won the SEC. Yeah, but Dom,
Yeah.
you see, Oregon was favored by 8.5 against Washington.
yeah, that was a dumb line though.
I was like, what the hell is that? I took Washington money line. It was
Dude,
just
the
an
fucking
easy bet.
Huskies are the biggest dirtbags. That's such a dirtbag school, University of Washington.
Well, that's a hot
Yeah.
take. There you go.
No, it's not.
That's
I'm
a
with you
Not even a
now.
hot
hot take.
take. Yeah, on the West Coast, they're like the fucking dicks of like the Pacific Northwest.
Jake Locker. Yeah. Right, he went there. Remember?
Ugh. Yeah, he did. Well, Pat, thanks for coming on the podcast. You're our first father that we've had on. It was good to get to chat what it's like to be a new dad. We're
Yeah.
gonna have our dad on the podcast pretty soon, so I'm gonna be excited for that. I don't know if my dad's ever spoke with a microphone in front of his mouth, so we'll see how he goes with that.
Babies are fun. Recommend. You guys should get
You
one.
recommend? One of my
Working on
friends
it.
just told me she's pregnant last night. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Is this good or bad?" She's like, "Oh, it's good." I was like, "All right, congratulations then."
That's a tricky slope, like telling people when you can get pregnant. Maggie was pregnant at Dave's wedding, and none of you guys figured that out. Until I told you.
I'm so oblivious
yeah.
to it because I hang out with this girl a bunch, and they're like, "Oh, haven't you noticed that she's not drinking?" And I was like, "I guess I don't notice these things." I don't know, because if you're not drinking, I don't just assume that you're pregnant. I just assume maybe you don't want an alcoholic drink right now.
Well,
Right.
Marge was
You're not-
walking around.
you're not-
Wasn't Marge walking around with a drink at Dave's wedding?
Yeah, well, we had another wedding to practice, but it's good though, Dom. You're not like judging people. Like you're just living in your own lane. You're not like evaluating how others are interacting. I think that's a healthier way
No,
to be.
I think so too. I get surprised a lot more, which is fun.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun, Pat. We're gonna have you on again in the future. I would love to do a live recording of it. So maybe if we're
Yeah.
in New York, you can come by the studio. We got a nice little setup at my dad's house.
I like it. I might have to be on Dean's Skipper's View podcast first. I got some really hot baseball takes to let go.
I'm ready whenever you are. I'm just waiting for you to say go.
I know. I've been trying to write that article that I promised you for a while, but life got in the way. Said baby.
Just use ChatGPT.
I could. I haven't used ChatGPT yet. That's like
You haven't used ChatGPT. You haven't lived.
Dude, it's the
makes me a
best.
boomer. You know.
It's the best. You could just ask
What-
it to do anything.
I'm just scared. I don't know. I'm scared of the Matrix.
We
man,
pro-
you know?
we primarily use it for like images and ideas. So like the name of the
I
podcast.
use it for blog posts.
Yeah, you do your little doctoral blog posts, yeah. But we do like
Yeah.
Lifeline. The name Lifelane's the Brotherly Guide came from ChatGPT.
Do you think
I would
they
never
could
tell
write
anyone
your fantasy football power rankings for you?
No. Nice.
Tyler, yeah, I used to come up with like fucking newspaper of fantasy rankings.
I can either put that time towards the Skipper's View or put that time towards the fantasy football rankings.
That's very true.
I don't make money
I
on
think
the
it's good.
fantasy football
The year that Brett's good is the year you took off, so it's like
rankings. Yeah, I'll come
you
back
just
next
get-
year.
doing that.
I'm
I'll
still
come back
trying
next
to,
year.
we're gonna ask Brett to be on the podcast over Christmas. It's gonna be a surprise. Do you think he's gonna be well taken with it, or
I think he's going to over prepare and it's going to come off prepared. No offense, Brett. I love you.
I'm just gonna get him super high? Sorry, no pot. Never even
No
heard
pot.
of
No
it.
pot.
Yeah, this is a pot-free community. Just alcohol.
Get him talking
Just
Purdue
no.
basketball. He'll get going on that.
Maybe we'll just like film him. We'll just like film it, but like not
Yeah,
tell
just
him
don't
that he's being
even
filmed.
tell him. He won't do it if you tell him, Dom. But if you don't tell him and we just set up the camera and like start talking, then we'll
I'll
get
just
him.
be like asking him questions. It'll just go off the rails. So that'd be a very entertaining one.
You should film trying to get him to play a game of Monopoly with us and him making up why he doesn't want to play a game with us. He's like, I don't like playing games.
Pat, are you in Milwaukee? Last night, you in Milwaukee for Christmas?
I am in Milwaukee for Christmas, yeah. I don't think I'll be home until St. Patrick's Day weekend. Got a wedding.
Very Irish, yeah.
Business tournament. No, I'm not going for St. There's a wedding Saturday. And then,
Are you going to Aaron's wedding?
yeah. And then the Big East tournament. Hopefully see Marquette win it before that.
Did
You
you
going
guys
to
see
that,
Vermont was on like ESPN today.
That was a wild play.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
4-point play.
Second. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that guy is fucking nice. Like, I went to a game like 2 weeks ago, and he was 6 of 7 from 3. I was like, who's this guy?
Was he on the team
And he's
last year?
No, I think he's a transfer, and he's a lefty, too, so it just looks
Oh,
swaggy.
lefty.
Yeah,
Marquette's
lefties
got
do
3
look
lefties.
swaggy.
It's
Damn,
nuts.
that's a little too much.
Now it throws the defense off.
It
Way
does.
too
It
many.
fuck me up.
Coach Justin, you remember that, right? When I was the only lefty on the team. You know, I got a couple layups easy in our
You got a
CYO
bounce
days.
pass. You always got a bounce pass.
It was such like a bad news Bears team without like the really good player that comes on eventually.
Have you guys gotten over that yet? That Justin coached our CYO basketball team when we were
We were rough.
seniors in high school?
No,
The
we
worst team
should
of all time.
rehash
We-
that one of these
We
days.
won a game.
It was by forfeit.
Yeah, but it was still a win.
We had one game where we were like tied at halftime.
Unless
And
I have
and then they
revisionist
went on a
history,
big run.
I recall us having a great starting five. I recall when certain people, we're an hour into this podcast, so I don't think he'll get this far. Certain people like Joe coming into the game and throwing up
chucking up
bricks.
threes.
We
Yeah.
did have a good.
When-
We did have a good.
When me, you, Dom, Brett, and
Ed.
Eddie were on the court,
No,
That was
Brett,
like
Brett
play.
wasn't on the team.
It wasn't Brett.
Oh, Garaputa or Marza?
No, it was the three. It was the three of us, Eddie and
I think Andrew.
Who's
Yeah,
our fan?
No,
I
it
think
wasn't
it was
Andrew.
Garaputa. It might have been. It was him or Marza.
it was Andrew or Brian. Yeah,
I think
I
it
think
was.
it-
I think it was.
I remember Andrew was on the team. We really tried to recruit Danny O'Connell hard.
Pretty growth
If we
spurt
had-
too. He would have been a great asset later in life.
if we had Danny and John McCormick was good, we almost had John McCormick. You know, we could have been a contender.
Right. Yeah, like all five of us would have been better off the bench, you know? Like
Yeah,
we're
for
like
sure.
second unit guys.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one jacking up 23s. So I don't fucking
Wasn't
do
there
it.
wasn't there a practice too, Justin, that you remember that like they wouldn't let us in because they're like, "Where's your coach?" I'm like, "He's our coach," and you were
Yeah, we got kicked out.
We'd go to
Yeah.
Center Street.
I remember,
just-
and we locked the
exclusively.
keys in the Acura.
I think if we had a better coach, we might have had a win.
Sounds about right.
If we had like Rick
Yeah.
Pitino, maybe.
Well, Justin was trying to like do rotations, and he would just take
we
the
just
people
pushed
out at
them
the wrong
over
time,
and
man.
scrimmaged in practice though, so I think that kind of shot our
Yeah.
chances of getting better in the foot.
I think if we tried it again, we'd be better. You know, there's a lot of YouTube videos
At
out
30
right
years
now.
old, we make it work.
That was a
I
lot
don't
of
know, I
fun
can't
though.
really-
Like,
Jump like I used to.
I'm gonna start to
But-
play in a pickup league. Pretty excited.
I lost my flag football semifinals today. Very upset about it.
Let's hear some
Because Dom
sound effects
wasn't
for
a
that one.
quarterback.
Yeah, my quarterback sucks. He couldn't throw the ball more than like 10 feet today.
Stannis Baratheon.
It was like a drizzle. It started raining pretty hard in the second half, but his hands are like, who has really small hands, like hobbit hands.
Ooh,
You like can't grip a ball.
Common
that's
hands.
fine.
It's ridiculous. But all right, Dom, I think that's good.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
Bye, Pat.
Been a pleasure. Talk again
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Happy
Good
holidays,
luck with
buddy.
everything. Where's Pepper? Show us a little Pepper.
Yeah, one second. Let me grab that bit.
Wait, Justin, do you remember the show Pepper Ann? Do you remember that show?
Pepper and she's again. There's a pepper.
Aw.
Yeah,
Who's that
Pepper's
Pepper?
pretty cute. Hey, Pepper.
Here, I'll put it on the tape.
Beep beep, Pepper.
Wow, tiny dog.
It was
Yeah,
so
she's like
tiny.
9 pounds on a good day. 10 pounds.
It's a good looking
Nice
dog.
city
though.
dog. I feel bad having like a big dog in the city. We'll get a big dog eventually, but
Is she not cool with shitting on concrete, or was she just poop anywhere?
she's done it, but she like
Very
prefers
affectionate.
grass. She likes to lick everything. Yeah.
Is she still
Epic.
sleeping in the bed, Pat?
Oh yeah. She doesn't take up much space though. So.
It's gonna be a crowded bed soon.
Yeah.
Well, when Kieran comes crawling in there in a few weeks,
Yeah.
few months, he's barely rolling over these days. So
Yeah.
Absolute last thing. Is it true he's in the 99th percentile for head size, or is that made up?
99 and a half, my guy. Don't short him.
Gosh.
My guy.
Big
My
brain.
guy.
Yeah, that's 7 5/8 right here. That's where it came from.
I've got the scars.
Yeah. Maggie can testify that was a large head.
Would Marge want to be on the podcast?
Marge, you want to be on the podcast?
Not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight, but in the future.
Sure.
Sure, definitely.
We need more diversity. We need more women. We might want to add a woman to our media conglomerate.
A lot of
At
white
some
males
point.
coming through here, Tom.
I
got a
know, it's
woman
not our
calling on next
demographic
episode.
either, but you know,
Christina was tan.
We have a very Irish guest coming on soon. She's super white.
More
Do we
white
have
Irish than I am. It's tough to beat.
She's pretty.
Oh, yeah, Pat's
She's
looking
got
very
orange
white.
hair or red
what's her
hair.
last name?
Warren.
That's not that Irish.
It's pretty Irish. Warren?
It's Irish, but we got a
McGovern's,
McGovern, we got a
you know,
McGovern
that's a
on it
name.
now.
Yeah.
A Mick or an O. Any one of those.
Or oh.
What would a woman bring to the table, Dom?
I'll let you.
Don't cut this. Don't cut this.
For like wait.
I just
for,
think
like,
it would
what
be
we're-
good
Let
to
him
get.
handle
I mean
himself.
for like what we're
It'd be good to get a little bit more diversity in this group.
I meant for like what we're doing. Like, would they do their own thing or?
Yeah, they
I
would
just
have
don't
to
see
do
how
their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, I was like, I just don't know how they would fit into the things that we're doing right now.
All right,
Yeah, they're not going to be.
we're
into
closing
the Yu-Gi-Oh,
out.
but-
I have to be up at 5 a.m. for a flight.
Oh, okay. I bring up
What
woman
are
and
you
Justin
playing?
needs to.
All right, Orlando.
Justin's typical. I didn't realize.
It's me.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
certain things about him, but. All right, Pat. Why don't you log off and then we can do our intro.
I'm just gonna wait right here. Actually, I'm kidding.
Later,
Bye,
Pat.
Pat.
Happy holidays.
See you guys.